Says it's good to see you again. He's Goop. You might remember him from the old days when he tried to teach you how to swim. Goop says you were always so righteous as a child, and he can still feel it, even at a distance. Goop says memories fade surprisingly fast. We are all pieces of what we remember. It's only together we can remember the story as it was. He knows he's easy to remember. There's no one out there as cuckoo as him. He's one of a kind. He understands you've returned to face Lupa-Lupin. That's the destiny you've been carrying within yourself all these years. He says that the catastrophe back then didn't vanquish the good in you. It's still there, as bright as when you were a child. Now the time has come for you to remember and act. Your life is your life, not the story you're told about it. He understands why you seek revenge, but he doesn't think you realize how that'll make you feel once you claimed it.
Getting darker around here by the minute.
There's still time. Dark hasn't won yet.
Oh, but it will, and we'll take our time to enjoy it.
Just like you to enjoy the end of everything.
Hey, even endings have to end.
Figures the world is a goner. Even the goo will go gone. Wishes you hadn't done so much to make the goo even gooier. Wonders why you're flapping around with the Jagni. They spend too much time nesting to do anything fun. But hey, back to the goo. Knows yesterday is already gone. It's what you do today and tomorrow that'll move you forward. You need to set the past aside, at least for now. He can't leave the subnautica station, as the pollution has worn down the insulation of his suit. So you must salvage enough scrap to fix up his goo glide, starting with the old wreck box outside. You should return when you've retrieved the scrap. There's no time to waste if you want to make the goo glide strong enough to fight the Porky Puff. You're lucky that way. There's still cargo left on the shores from before the apocalypse. His best guess is a tower tanker hit a reef and went under. Let's see. Hey, you found the track, even around all this goopy goo. Nothing escapes your googly eye. The surf here looked cleaner when that track was made. Old world dive pods had a built-in air supply, so you could breathe below the surf. Glad you had the patience to learn more about how the surf got gooed. Doesn't look good for our story. Sometimes it just feels good to get wet. Now that's a flesh wound. Carving it up. It's a brand new day. That's just nasty. Biohazards make you puke. Toxanol's offshore drilling caused oily matter to spread with the rain and contaminate both the groundwater and open surf. The long-lasting effect this had on the evolution of wildlife was, as we know now, the only reason we came to exist. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. He's got the goo glide functional. You'll have a pull hook and a salvage net, but no armor, and an engine strong enough to break through the thick goo further out. There's debris floating around on the surf that might be blocking your path or needs to be towed. That means you'll need a device so you can get it out of your way. Goop says Gizmo's devised a cannon for the goo glide, but instead of bullets, it flips quacks. Squeaky distractions for the triple attentive porky puff, which will give you time to get yourself in position. The best way to find quacks is to talk to Gulp. He has the bearings of the surf archipelago and knows where the quacks like to float. This means you'll have the privilege of visiting Gulp in the Sinky Dink. He'll be able to give you directions to where you'll find quacks. He's not sure, but the quacks are probably a leftover from a cargo surfer that went under in the olden days. The squeaky material must have made them surface when their box broke. The day is getting on. This here is the Sinky Dink, home of Gulp, at the very least. Let's see. He's pretty sure he's heard of you before, although the details are maybe a little hazy. He wonders if you have something for him to drink. Says it's both everything you could want and never enough. Says you look like you've got a powerful thirst to do something in this world. Good, Bad? Not really sure, but it seems like you've been drinking in your destiny and liking the flavor. Wants to know if he could point you towards something fun to drink, so that you could share with the tipsy tipster. You sure look like you could use a drink. Either way, he hopes you find a way to wet your whistle before the world comes to an awful dry end and leaves us all thirsting for more. Says life's like a mystery drink. Sometimes it's amazing, and sometimes it's awful. But either way, you can't stop drinking till you're dead. Sure, but that's nowhere near as quick and easy. Who wants to stop to chew? Says you should toast the end of the world, but you'd better hurry. It's coming soon. Respects how you take care of yourself first instead of trying to swallow too much. Thinks it's funny you wound up with the Jagni. They drink so little, like birds. Guesses someone has to be, but he can't swallow the sight of it. But who cares about them? Says you'd be as bummed out as him if you came for the hot stuff. The glugmocker, Nimhimbibble, and his favourite radium syrup. That one's even more intoxicating now, aged in truck tankers and all. Without a drink, and radium syrup especially, he can't move, much less think, as the power of his mind is directly proportioned to the quantity of syrup he swigs. That's why he's called Gulp. The drink helps him forget the state the world is in, but it only lasts until tomorrow. The world is still doomed, even if the sun goes up. Figures the real problem is finding something to drink. He wants you to know he has other interests too. He's the Surfipelago's self-proclaimed ornithologist, for example. There are other ways than a cold drink to relieve stress, even in these dark times, and, fortunately for you, he can help. Watching pippies flap is calming, but better yet are the ones you can look at and touch, like quacks. Squeezing them is a great way to relax. They're better at floating than flapping, so you should be able to net a few without growing yourself a pair of wings. We are lonesome animals that spend all our life trying to be less lonesome. E-waste, the stuff you need. The Quack Hollow. It's just lonely. Locked, but good. This won't be a field trip. It's the real thing. Close encounter. The scrap keeps piling up. You need to line up the switches so they match. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. You need to line up the switches so they match. Bristles like the hair of one electrified. You need to line up the switches so they match. Good. That's enough electric current to initiate the actuators and activate the framework. Give it some gas. Maybe it's time to take the offensive in the dark. That's enough quacks to sustain the Googlide flipper with infinite ammunition. Goop says he was there when the Porky Puff took Out-of-Date's leg, so this World Eater has made it personal. After that, Out-of-Date started using his head instead of his legs and came up with the plan on how to best make a stand against the World Eaters, and it wasn't by foot. He seems happy to talk. Says you must look at the Tree of Life to see how the world fares. Says that sometimes it's good to question the belief of others, like you do with the Ankati tribe. Has plenty to do, so no worries. He seems happy to... Wouldn't be so...